Who's your emergency contact? Who should be notified in case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I spent the last 2+ decades of my life. I know you guys been waiting for a USP story. I got some in the works. Like I said, I just want to make sure that I can share some of the stories with you guys. So for right now, I'm just going to take you guys back to 1996, 95, 96, when I first caught my first case. I got caught with a sawed-off shotgun back in 95. Around November of 95, one of my homeboy, rest in peace, Doughboy, had ended up unaliving some dude up in Midville. So in that process, they were kicking down all the homies' door, and they came and kicked down my door, and I got caught slipping, had a sawed-off shotgun in my room. You know, they arrested me for the state. I bailed out from the state, but then a few months later, around February of 96, the feds picked it up and indicted me on a federal case. And that's how I ended up in federal prison the first time in 96. They gave me 28 months for the sawed-off shotgun. I ended up doing another 4 months in immigration and got back out in May of 98. So going back to when I first caught my case, you know, in the 90s, it was really bad out here with all of us out here. You know, everybody was at war out here. The Tongans were at war with the Tongans. The TCG and the regulators was at war with each other. The Samoans and the Tongans was at war with each other. The Mexicans was at war with each other. They had the Serranos and they had the Cubos. That was always bumping heads. And then, of course, all the Bloods and the Crips. You know, they had what they call Murder One Fam. That was the Cubos, the BMG, and 2-1. They were banging against all the rest of the Crips. And then, of course, us, we was bumping heads with the other Asian gangs out here. And so during that time, a lot of us, we were young. We were just barely turning 18, 19 years old. We all got picked up and ended up in the county jail and ended up getting shipped off to prison. So while I'm in the county jail fighting my case, I see on the news that they're looking for 2 suspects for multiple robberies. These 2 dudes, they've been running around doing a robbery spree. And then they put their pictures on the screen. And, well, when they put up the pictures, I knew them, right? Anyway, a couple days later, I think maybe I was in my bunk sleeping, but I hear somebody, because I'm on the second tier, I'm in 2C6 at this time in Old Metro. And in between the tiers, there's a gym that's got windows with screens on it, but you can holler down into the gym and talk to people on the 3rd floor or talk to people on the 1st floor. And I hear a voice that I recognize hollering at somebody, you know, I mean, on one of the tiers. So I jump on the bars and I yell out through the bar. I say, "Hey, what's up, Block? That's you?" It's like, "Who's that?" It's like, "Man, it's Mesa." It's like, "Oh, what's up, cuz?" I was like, "Man, what's up? What the fuck?" "Oh, man, they got us on some bullshit," right? So I'm like, "All right," you know, we chopped it up a little bit or whatever. And then, because they're down there in quarantine. Quarantine's on the 1st floor. Quarantine is where they just, after they process you, you know, do all the cough check, body check, and all that shit. They give you a bedroll and they just put you in this tank. And you're sitting there waiting to be designated a housing. Like, you know, you sit there maybe 2 or 3 days to either your people's gonna come bail you out or If no one bails you out, or if you don't got a bail, then they'll come and let you know what tier and what cell you're going to. So I think it was like that same night or some T Block hollers up at me. He's like, "Hey man," he's like, "Hey Mason." So what's up, homie? He's like, "Hey man, I'm out of here." I was like, "You're what?" No, they just picked him up on a string of robberies, and but they're kicking him out because we have back then we have a thing called I think it's CDR, computer discharge release. Like it's just like winning the lotto. Like when the jail is packed, they run your name through the computer, and the computer just pops out a name or whatever, and you get kicked out. You don't got no bail, but you got to report to the probation office or whatever, within 24 hours after you release or something like that, or within a few hours after you get released, depending on where you live. So, like he's telling me he's getting out of jail. They're releasing him. I was like, what the fuck? This dude just got picked on a string of robberies and is getting kicked out on a CDR shit. So anyway, he get kicked out. But when the police found out that he got released from jail, man, they went and round up the troops and went and kicked in his door. So a few hours later, he's back in jail in the quarantine. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought they released you. It was bad. They came and got me. I'm like, homie, they picked you up on a string of robbery. Him and other homie Mifi. They're both Tongans. Mifi ended up getting deported. But I'm just like, they wanted you for armed robbery, a string of them. Like they were just running around robbing everything. And I'm like, why the fuck didn't you leave town? He said, oh man, I had to go to my auntie's house, and I went to my auntie's house to take a shower. Like he didn't go home. He was smart enough not to go home, but he was still dumb enough to go to a relative. Cause he's been in the system. He just got out of Decker Lake. Decker Lake was a juvenile prison. I know him because we all grew up together, me and all his brothers and stuff. Two of his younger brother, C-Wack and Chubrock, was on my case back in '98. They were hanging out with me when I caught all my case. But they all ended up in the state joint, and I ended up going to the feds. But he's like, yeah, man, I was on my way out of town, but I had to take a shower. And I was like, a shower? Are you fucking serious? Like, dude, if you're gonna take a shower, you're supposed to go someplace house that nobody knows, not to your auntie's house. But anyway, so he's back in the county jail with us. And the story I'm gonna share with you guys today is even in the county jail, the shit gets crazy, right? Like most of the funk that I got into was while I was in the county jail. I don't really share a lot of them because I don't want to open up old wounds for the homies out here that watch my YouTube, But maybe I can share those stories without mentioning the names of some of my victims and stuff. But so we're in the county jail, and I'm on the second tier. Now it's been like 6, 7 months since I've been fighting my case. And I fought my case for over a year before I got shipped out to Florence FCI. So I've been getting moved around because I've been getting into fights, getting into this and that, whatever. And now they got me in 2C3. So I wake up one day and the homies come in. T-Block and them, they come into no, I got shipped out of 2C6. I was next door. I went to the SHU, did my 30 days. Then when I come back out, they put me in 2C3, where T-Block and the homie Lisi was in there. So we come into So I come into the tier. I know a few people over there. We kick in, chop it up. But while I'm in the county, I hear rumors about the homie, right? So I don't want to be like hollering through the bars about what happened or this and that. But I hear people telling stories about what happened on G tier. G tier is a double lockdown. It's you have a day room. I don't know if you guys can see the rest of this room, but you have a thin hallway which is about 10 feet wide going along the unit, and then it breaks down into 9 cells. So you got 9 cells, and then you come out into a day room which is about 10 feet wide in the length of the 9 cells, plus the shower and the bathroom. And over there they call it double lockdown because in the in the place I was at in 2C3 on the regular tier, it's just a 14, 16 man tank. No cells, it's just bunks all around the tier. But in the G tier, you got your own single cells. So when I hit the homie up, I'm like, damn, homie, what's this I hear about what happened over in G tier? Like, oh man, he didn't really want to, tell me about it, but eventually he's like, fuck, man, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to me, right? So I guess when they were in G tier, they were all drinking. They had made a batch of wine. There's 9 of them over there. So they're all drinking. They all got a little buzz. And, you know, T Block, he's a bully, like cold blooded bully. And, when you think about Debo and all those images you see on TV, he's the embodiment of it, right? So I guess there was this white dude that was in there, and T Block was just fucking with him. T Block went over there, because when we're young in a county jail or even prison or wherever, you're always trying to see if somebody's got heart, if somebody's gonna fight to defend themselves or protect their interests and all the rest of it. So T Block tells me they're over there kicking it and they're all drinking, and they just had this new white dude that just came into his on their tier, and he went over there. He's like, "Hey man, what's up, homie?" He said, "Hey, man, what would you do if somebody come over here and try to try to grape you?" Dude's like, "Man, shit, I'm gonna die for mine. I fight for mine. Ain't nobody taking nothing from me." He's like, "Oh, all right, bet, all right." So as they started drinking, I don't know, like what came over him or whatever, but he came back into that dude's cell with with a couple pencils that was wrapped up with the strings. You take the strings out of your underwear, you wrap two pencils up, to make it more firm, and then you sharpen the tips. You know. So he came over there and snatched the dude by his hair and stuck the pencil to his neck. He said, "Huh? You down for real? You down for real? Huh? What the fuck you gonna do now?" And the way he told me, he was just like, "Yeah, I was just fucking with him. I stuck that pencil to his neck, and I was like, 'What's up? What you trying to do? Huh? What you trying to do?'" And the dude broke down like, "Man, I'll do whatever you want. I'll do whatever you want. I'll do whatever you want." Again, I've known this dude since he was young, right? But when you get locked up, especially when you're young, you have an idea of what prison's supposed to be or how it's supposed to be, and you see that shit on TV and all the rest, and somehow you just want to live up to it or something, or make it as crazy as the stories you've heard. So he tells dude, It's like shit, man, get on your knees and you know suck me off, something to that effect. And dude did. But the crazy part was that there's 9 people on that tier, and all the ones in that block when we was there, when we was in the jail at that time, they they were all between 18, 19, and 20, like just a bunch of youngsters. I'm one of the youngest one in the jail. I'm 18 years old, and I guess dude all lined up, and they practically like gang raped him. You know what I mean? He took turn making them suck him off. And when the homies tell me this, I'm just like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? It's like, man, I don't know. But also like, like when people say, oh, the penitentiary made him gay and all this and all that, I don't really buy into that because like if you get aroused when a dude is touching you, like you must be into it because if you're not into it, you're not gonna get aroused, homie. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck if this dude's got lipstick on, if he's got long flowing hair and eyeliner and all the rest of it. If you ain't into that shit, cause you know that that's still a dude. Just like when I was in the pen, you got these dudes that come on the compound, they got breasts, they got tits, and all these dudes looking at it like, oh damn, that bitch got tits. That's not a bitch. It's a bitch in the sense that it's a bitch, but that's not a female. That's still a dude. You go a little bit lower, there's gonna be something hanging between his legs. And if you just because this dude got some implants on or took some hormone pills and grew himself some tits, you're trying to trick yourself that this is a dude. Homie, you can't tell me that you don't swing that way. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that's a dude. And if you got a dude that's touching your junk and your shit get hard, then you're into that. Because if you're not, then you wouldn't get hard, right? So anyway, so we're in 2C3. We're in 2C3, and one day we go downstairs to go to rec. The gym. You got a gym upstairs where we're at, then you got another gym on the first floor. So we go down to the first floor, and that white dude is in one of the tank down there in quarantine. So T Block, so when they put us in the gym, T Block goes to the windows and hollers at him like, "Hey man, what the fuck? What the fuck you suing me for?" Because I guess the dude pressed charges on T Block and sue him for getting violated, right? For violating him. Is that what the fuck you suing me for? You trying to get some of this 25 to life that I'm facing? Is that what you want? And the dude came up to the bar, said, "Man, I'll never make my wife do that to me again. I know she don't like it, 'cause I don't like it." I'm just like, what the fuck, right? I'm young, man. I'm just a kid myself, and at that time I was facing 10 years. 'Cause when you go into the feds, they try to scare you with the top end of the guideline, with the minimum mandatory and all that stuff, you know. And I'm just like, damn, it was this bad in the county jail. Like, what the hell am I going to be walking into when they finally do send me to prison? You know. But now that place is crazy. It makes you rethink your reality, because there's things that go on in there that I can't speak for everybody else, but for me, like, you just don't think it's possible. Like, how are we in here treating each other like this? How are we in here doing some of the shit that we do? We're broke down to a level of savagery, and that goes, with the violence, that goes with the sexual conduct. Yeah, we back to, caveman days, survival of the fitness, and the more savage you are, the crazy you are, the more respect you have. Like, right? Or maybe it's not respect, maybe it's fear. But, me being home now, I constantly struggle with trying to break myself out of that mindset, because there's a lot of things that I've done that I felt was justified. There's a lot of behaviors and conducts that were acceptable to me back then, but they're not now. You know, for me, like I tell you, everything I've done through the course of my bid was things that I had to do to ensure my safety, to ensure my well being, and to ensure my survival. Welcome to the USP.